The first thing anyone noticed about Eliar was his warmth, not the kind you could measure with a thermometer, nor the polite sort that comes with a practiced smile. His was the kind of warmth that softened winter winds, that made seedlings brave enough to sprout too early in spring. He lived on the outskirts of the village of Taros, in a stone house brushed gold by the morning light. People said he built the house himself, stone by stone, though none could remember him ever being young enough to need to build a home at all. To most, he simply was, as much a part of the landscape as the hills or the old oak by the river. But Eliair carried a secret. His soul was tethered to the sun, not in the way of a devotee, nor as a prisoner of ancient magic. No, his soul and the sun were two Ryu Hitham of his life, until the year the sun began to fade. It started subtly. The days grew shorter, as they always did in winter, but the sun itself dimmed more than usual. It hung lower in the sky, pale and sickly. The farmers' crops wilted under its wan light, and the children began to shiver even at midday. Eliair felt it deep in his marrow. Each morning it took him longer to rise. His hands, once sure and steady, trembled as though weighed down by invisible chains. He no longer sang to the dawn, as he used to, for the dawn gave him no song in return. The village grew anxious. Whispers filled the markets and taverns. Some spoke of curses, others of forgotten debts to old gods. Many pointed to Eliair, their sun-touched as they called him. If anyone could save them, surely it was the man bound to the sun itself. Reluctantly, Eliair agreed to seek the truth. On the first morning of the frostfall, wrapped in his old cloak, he set out for the summit of Solara Peak, where legend said the sun once kissed the earth. The climb was steep, the wind cruel, and each step drained him more than the last. Yet he pressed on, feeling a pull deep within him, as though the sun itself was calling him home. As he climbed, memories surfaced unbidden. He saw himself as a boy, chasing dawnlight across the fields. He saw his mother's hands, always warm, even in winter, as she told him stories of the Sun Father and his radiant children. He remembered the old priest who had named him Eliair, child of the ember, and the day he had first felt the sun's fire flicker awake in his chest. At the peak, he found not the blazing altar of legend, but a frail old woman, cloaked in robes of faded gold. Her eyes, bright as twin suns, regarded him with a sorrowful tenderness. "You have come far, Eliair," she said, her voice like dawn breezes over summer fields. "Farther than I ever wished," he replied, his breath ragged. "The sun is dying. I can feel it." She nodded. "As do I." "Why?" he demanded, despair crackling at the edges of his words. "Why is it fading? Why am I fading with it?" The woman's gaze softened. "Because, child, all fires must one day burn low. Even the great sun tires of its endless vigil." He fell to his knees, grief and exhaustion swallowing him whole. "Then it is the end." But she shook her head. "Not the end. A choice." With a wave of her hand, she conjured a vision in the air between them. He saw a mighty tree, roots tangled in molten rock, branches cradling a nest of golden light. He saw himself, older and brighter than he had ever been, tending to the tree, feeding it with pieces of his own soul. "This is the path of the Flamekeeper," the woman said. "Your bond to the sun grants you power, but it also grants you duty. The sun falters not because it is weak, but because it is waiting for you to share your fire." Eliair felt the truth of her words burn through him, fierce and undeniable. "But if I give my fire," he whispered, "what will remain of me?" "A flame does not diminish when it lights another," she answered. "It grows brighter." And so, with the last strength in his bones, Eliair placed his hands upon the vision of the tree. Heat surged through him, fierce as 1,000 midsummers. He felt his soul stretch, expand, and pour into the roots of the great tree. Light burst from its branches, reaching high into the sky, and as it did, the sun above flared anew. Warmth washed over the land, and for the first time in many weeks, the village felt the kiss of true sunlight on their faces. Eliair never returned to his stone house by the river. Some say he became the Flamekeeper, a guardian spirit who tends the sun from realms unseen. Others believe he lives still, walking beneath the golden boughs of the world tree, keeping vigil over the light that sustains all life. But every morning, when the sun crests the hills of Taros, the villagers swear they see his silhouette in the blaze of dawn, a reminder that one man's fire, freely given, can reignite the heart of the world.